Hello,
Hello. Hi.
how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm going to, well, I'll just leave it like that. Whew, I just finally took a shower and got ready for the rest of my day and glad to see you. We had an invigorating morning, didn't we?
We did. Um, yeah, uh,
It was exciting.
I have a sip of water.
Yes.
Hmm. I don't think I've got my lights on, have I? They looked something quite right. That's better.
I'm going to grab my boots here because this floor is cold. There.
So I have a heat pad, like a, it's like a, well, it's a heat pad, like for putting on when you're cold. It's just,
Yes, yes.
or, for injury and, um, the pipes underneath where I sit in this room are really cold. So my
Ah,
feet get so cold. So what
yes.
I do is I switch my heat pad on and I just put my feet on them
Oh, lovely. Good.
to keep it warm.
I know. It probably wasn't this cold in England, was it?
Uh, well, it's been a long while since I've been in England.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
we've been away from England for,
Right.
wow, uh, 15,
Wow. Because you went to
15.
Germany and then BC.
That's correct. Yeah.
BC is so lovely, but so unaffordable.
Yes, in many ways. Yeah.
Yes,
Hello, my friend. How are you?
hi, Vanessa. Yay.
Hi all, how's it going?
Good to see you.
Good,
You
good.
too.
It's actually very interesting because I wasn't expecting to see you here today.
Oh, I took the day off sick, so I
Okay.
Uh,
jumping in.
I kind of assumed
good.
because you and your family had been so sick that I wouldn't see you today. And while I was getting ready for this call, I was actually thinking ahead and I was thinking, you know what? We're going to do a little bit of Ho'oponopono on in our little breathing
Okay.
place today to bring some goodness to an
Mm.
energy towards you
Oh,
because
thank you.
be able to be here. So we can do it with you here instead.
Hey.
Wonderful. Good.
Because I'm aware of
Mm.
how difficult it is for you at the moment with not feeling well yourself and having all this pressure, and on top of that, having two unwell children, or getting better, getting worse, where they're all at. That it was just kind of, I guess, all of that was what I picked up from our messages.
Yes, thank you so much. Grateful to be here.
Yeah,
Good.
we are very happy to have you here. Um, okay, so let's just tune in. And if anyone else comes in, they can just come in and join us and pick up where they are. So let's just imagine we're bringing our eyes and our ears and all of our senses, all that awareness right down into this midsection, like around the solar plexus, right in the center of us. Just feel into that. See what's there. Doing our best not to judge it, just to be with whatever is and the effects of that. This is a moment for you, not for anyone else but you, to just really be so, so present with what is and the emotions that come up from what is right now for you. And I invite you to just, on your next breath in, breathe in through the nose and really breathe into that. Breathe into that space that speaks to what is going on for you right now. And then breathe out what you no longer need. And this time we'll take a deeper breath into that space around the midsection where mostly we hold so much unaware. A little bit deeper breath this time. And breathe out what we don't need. And we can just trust that when we breathe out what we don't need, that our own intuition is letting go of what we don't need, even outside of our consciousness. So this time we'll do like a kind of two-part in-breath. So breathe normally for a moment. So what we'll do, we'll initially take a breath into that belly area, just like we do with our energy breath. And we just kind of pause for barely a second. And then we're going to take another breath in through the nose. So we feel some space or some expansion a little bit higher up into this chest and heart area. So we'll start by breathing all the way out. And then that breath is going to come into the belly, hold, and in again to the space around the heart and the chest. And then breathing out through the nose if you can, if not through the mouth, all the way out. Just let the breath settle just for a normal in and out breath. And just whilst we're just breathing normal, see if you can find some release or some relaxation somewhere in your body. I'm not going to do a full body scan here, but if you can just kind of let your jaw go a little more, your cheekbones, the forehead, the shoulders and neck, or perhaps it's in your spine, lower back, mid back. Just notice where you can just sink a little bit deeper into this moment and let go of some tension if it's there. And then we'll breathe all the way out and we'll take another deep belly breath followed by that chest expansion. So all the way out, big breath into the belly, expanding the side ribs. And another little breath in to the heart space. And then all the way out. And then perhaps just set or have a thought about what you hope to take away from today as we explore macronutrients. Just a word or maybe just being here is enough today. Sensing the support and the community from others. And then when you're ready, come back to your room and our room.
Mhm.
Good morning, Monique.
I'm in my jammies, my dirty hair, everything. I
Love
just
that.
looked at the time and went, "Hey, I can do a meeting. I'm gonna get a little
So good
fix."
to see you. And
Yeah,
so
hi.
my intention today is to bring to you all some more awareness around macronutrients, catching the things that you didn't get first time around, which is perfectly normal in our humanness as we learn. But also my intention is to wrap this call up on time for us all so that we don't leave the call with this residual sense that next time I need to allow more than an hour. Because I think an hour from our lives is a lot from our busy lives at times. And if we can know that that hour is an hour, and this is speaking for myself as well, that awareness around that time helps us to move forward, making making moments count within our other hours of the day, and that we don't just give away all of our time and then we get behind with other things and we don't have time for ourselves.
Mm.
And I think I'm especially brought to the hour because this morning, after just not going into detail, but after a really rough night last night, sleep-wise, with teenagers and life, and Stuart not being here, Stuart being in Calgary, and isn't it wonderful how all these things come up on the first night?
Yes.
And we had a blizzard, and there was a weather warning, and they said we might lose our electric, and all of these things, which we didn't, thankfully. But just, I took an hour this morning, and I quite literally said, Rachel, what do you need?
Mm.
And just by asking myself what I needed, I was like, I need just a little bit of inner peace. I need just a little bit of rest and relaxation before I go into my day, which is, I've got some deadlines and I've got stuff to bring to others. So I'm really wanting us all to appreciate time for what it is and what we can gather from it for ourselves, because I think that's really important for us to do, especially if you tend to have that kind of distracted, neurodivergent brain, which many people have, even when they're not neurodivergent, for sure. So it always seems like there isn't enough time. So what can we feed into our time, into 20 minutes, 5 minutes, an hour, whatever that is, that's going to fill us up? So hopefully you got the check-in, just how do I feel today as I came to the call, as we came to that little brief check-in with ourselves and our breath. And so if nobody has any urgent questions, I'm going to go straight ahead and share my screen. Where are we? Here we go. Oops. Let's go to... Now, what did I do last week with this bar? Because I have a feeling I lost it altogether, didn't I? So we're going to start off. We might possibly move straight into our third lesson today, because they kind of, all three of them go together, but we'll see how we're doing. We are, and I just realized, sorry, I think I need to unshare for a moment because I didn't click the button to share the sound. Here we are. Revisiting and reviewing macronutrient balance. Here is the first lesson today. Principle number 2, macronutrient balance. In this lesson, we're going to introduce you to macronutrients. Just a quick reminder that Foxy's foundations are focused on increasing energy. Nutrition is broken down into 2 parts: macronutrients and micronutrients. Macronutrients are protein, fat, and carbohydrates, also water and oxygen, but we're not focused on those 2 in this lesson. Then our micronutrients, vitamins and minerals. So think big for macros and small for micros. So we'll focus on the macronutrients in this lesson: protein, fat, and when it comes to carbohydrates, we're going to focus on vegetables and fruit. Introducing protein. This is the grounding of the macronutrients. It really helps us to ground, which is wonderful for supporting our foundation. And a quick overview here. You don't need to write these down. There is a list of them, and this is not an exhaustive list, just to get you in the mind of including macronutrients into your days. So meat, fish, nuts and nut butter, eggs, tofu or tempeh, yogurt, cheese, protein powders, a little bit less protein, beans, lentils, peas, and seaweed. And I just want to say that a body without enough protein, you see this long list of symptoms that can typically come if we don't have enough protein. So I'm not going to read them all off. You can pause the video if you want to. Just giving that a very brief pause for you because you don't have the controls. Just encouraging you to look over this list. Which one or two stands out the most for you around a body without enough protein, with not enough protein? It's really important to recognize we must have protein. A body without enough protein will also often crave carbs. So if you tend to reach for the carbs, then that might be because you haven't got enough protein. Carbs are our primary source of energy. So when we're low on something, we get driven towards carbohydrates. Let's look at fat. So our fats, and I have not listed them all here, these are just a few. Oils, olive oil, coconut oil, avocado oil. Try and go for cold pressed, first pressed if possible, to get the best nutrient value you can. Avocados, butter or ghee, nuts and seeds, wild fish like salmon, mackerel, sardines, they have good fats in them. Meat, olives, eggs, coconut. Great. So those are the main fats. And then we move on to toxic nutritional beliefs. I must mention this, especially around dietary fat. Toxic nutritional beliefs are thoughts and thoughts on repeat that become beliefs in our system, such as fat in food is fat on my body. Therefore, food becomes the enemy. Appetite becomes the enemy. Your appetite is designed for survival. It is your best friend. So we will, as we go through the later lessons in the program, look at these in much more detail, but I felt the need to bring them up at this point. So also, a body low in dietary fat will likely crave it and will be hungry, among other things. So here is your list. There is crossover with protein for sure. So be aware of all of those things that you might be experiencing if you don't have enough fat. Just pausing again. A little fat goes a long way. A glug of olive oil or a glug of avocado oil on your food when you're cooking can be all the difference. Carbohydrates. For this, we are going to look at fruits and veg. So think plants. Think about all those brightly colored plants. Like the darker and deeper that green, the better. This is where all your nutrients are coming from, and also fiber. If we're putting the food in, we've got to help it move through the body, and fiber helps it to move well through the body. And obviously, there's lots of goodness in here that crosses over with the micronutrients as well. So there's our introduction to macronutrient balance. I will see you in the next lesson. Just coming to our questions, and I have a sense that I might, because there's 2 questions today on each of the lessons, I'm going to give you a minute and a half for just a brief reflection on these. I don't want to hang around too long, so just think about what comes to mind as you ask yourself these questions, and consider your energy and moods day to day as you ask yourself, which of my meals currently include a balance of macronutrients, typically, and notice any areas you are receiving the value of that macronutrient balance. And also, what, if any, symptoms and challenges do I experience that might be due to a lack of macronutrient balance? So there's a minute and a half here for you. Okay. Going to move on to our second lesson, which is the how of macronutrients. Assuming there's nothing coming, no sound coming through, we're ready for this next lesson. So in this lesson, we are still in the macronutrient balance principle, but I'm going to just show you simple ways, the how to add these macronutrients that are going to give you so much goodness and help you build out your foundation. It's really just about the how. So I've left this document in the portal for you. So all of your macros are listed there. Go and Google and find other foods that you like that come under these headings. So you can use this, or I've just used a regular notebook here. So what we're going to start with doing is write down a typical day of what you usually eat. If you can't think what on earth you usually eat, because that was me, I had no clue, to be honest. I wasn't really that aware way back then. So if you can't, then just look at yesterday. There is no judgment here. This is really important that you meet yourself where you are. Whatever your diet looks like, you're going to bring self-compassion, and we're beginning to move towards acceptance of where you are, and we're moving forward. So just right at the top of your page, breakfast, lunch and dinner, and snacks if you're using a notebook. So for instance, I've got raisin bran here for breakfast, 2 slices of bread, slice of ham and tomato, and a small packet of chips, and um, if you're English, crisps. Dinner is pasta marinara and a muffin, and snacks are coffee and 3 cookies. So we're going to do some assessing here as we go. First, we're going to assess for protein. So let's have a look. Raisin bran and milk. We could argue there's a tiny bit of protein here, but not much. So what am I going to do? I'm going to put an egg on the side. You will get to know that it's a classic line. If you eat eggs and your body likes eggs, then they are a complete protein and they have some dietary fat as well. But for now, this is an egg on the side. And we now have, for lunch, we are going to add 2 slices of shaved turkey breast or beef. So you could get this from the deli. Just watch for the packeted items. We're looking, because the things like ham, you really have to watch those because they have a lot of additions and there might not be that much protein in. So ideally, choose something that looks like a piece of meat rather than a prepackaged meat. Add a couple of shaves of turkey. Now we have our protein. Over here, simply the pasta marinara and the muffin we're going to add fish or meat, poultry to that. If you are a vegan or a vegetarian, you can add chickpeas, peas, beans, tofu, lentils. Just these are all examples. You're not following my plan here. This is an example. So there we now have a a protein-rich day. That's it. We only add in. We don't want to drop everything out overnight. All that's going to do is upset your nervous system, and that's where we end up back where we began. We just want to add in these very special foods to balance our moods and improve our energy. So let's have another one. We're going to look at fat. So I've got yogurt and granola. We'll do it as we go here. So looking for fat in yogurt and granola. Well, it's your low-fat yogurt. So there isn't much fat here. Deli sandwich and a packet of crisps. Well, again, arguable. Not really any good dietary fat there. Chicken parmesan and fries. Well, let's see what we can do with this. So handful of nuts or seeds in addition to this granola and yogurt. Now we have fat. We have quality fat. Deli sandwich and packet of crisps. We're going to add quarter or half an avocado. Now we have fat. Chicken parmesan and fries. I'm just going to cross that out, and we're going to switch that out for homemade chicken breast with olive oil in the oven with a bunch of wedges with seasoning on, and we can add a side salad. You can throw a bag of salad on the side if that works for you, if your timing is short. So there we go. We now have fat in our day. Now we look at vegetables. Vegetables, if you like them, are the easiest thing to add to your meals because you can do them raw, like peppers, carrots, berries, and I recommend adding vegetables to at least 2 of your meals a day. So you can cook them if you want to. You can have them roasted, boiled, blend them if you have no teeth. So side salad, a bag of salad on the side of your chicken breast with olive oil, and Bob's your uncle, you have macronutrient balance. There is no perfection here. Perfection is dangerous. It is risky for our nervous system and for our bodies. We want to be gentle and kind here. So you choose what's going on your meals, what you're going to include in those macronutrients. That brings us to the end of the how of macronutrients. I will see you in the next lesson. Okay, little reflection around the how or around macronutrients before. I do have a little lesson on resistance. Let's just go through these questions and see where we're at time-wise. So what one small step can I take from where I am now to increase my energy, stabilize my moods, and improve my overall well-being with macronutrients? And what can I do to ensure that I do take this step, however small this step is? What supports can I utilize from the Beyond Weight program and elsewhere? And what do I believe might get in the way of me moving forward with this? So I'm going to do 90 seconds again on the timer. Here we go. Okay, I think I'm going to continue on and play through this. This is 5 minutes, this lesson on resistance. I think it's a good time to bring just a little note here on resistance. Resistance, what is it? And you might actually be very glad to put a name to resistance. Resistance is every single thing that stops us from getting where we want to go. Every client I have comes to me, and at some point they say to me, I know what I want to do. I know what I need to do. I know what I should do, but I just don't do it. Or I can do it for a little while, but then I can't. This is 100% normal. Resistance is coming from your nervous system, which is built for survival. And according to your nervous system, you have survived doing what you've always done. So when you go to make a change, resistance shows up. And what I can say is resistance is very sneaky. It shows up in so many different ways. You will forget to do the new thing. You will avoid doing the new thing. You will do something completely different. Everything comes up when you don't want to change. And of course, you do want to change, but your system is set up so you don't. Change is uncertain for your nervous system, and it's there to protect you. So, what do you do in these moments? Well, first of all, it has to be heard. And what we generally tend to do in our old ways, or what I did in my old diet days, was when resistance came up, I pushed harder. I tried to push on through it, ignore it, and move forward anyway. And it always resulted in fallout. I never kept going. So remember, we're not trying to restrict and diet here. We're trying to live our lives. We're trying to have better energy and moods and have the focus to get through our day and the energy to get through our day. So we're not focused on restriction here. Yes, we want to eat to satiation. We don't want to overeat our macronutrients, but we are now working with our system rather than against it. We're working to thrive, not survive, because diet mode is survival. We're just hanging on there with a low energy because we haven't got enough food in our system or enough nutrients of what we need. So there are so many things I can say about that, but resistance needs to be heard. So when you hear it, when you see it, when you notice it, say it out loud. Say hello to it. Oh, I think this might be resistance. At this point, all you're doing is noticing it and letting it be heard. See what it has to say, because chances are it's your system going, no, I don't want to, or no, we don't do this, or no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to change. I want us to carry on as normal. That change over there is uncertain. So expect all these things to come out and just listen. And it's not easy in the beginning to hear it because we're not used to hearing it. We're used to pushing through. Just do it, Nike says. That's what we've been told. And if we don't, we're failures. Well, when there's nothing to fail now, you can't fail at improving your life experience. So another thing you can say is these three little words. Can I just? So for instance, with macronutrient balance, can I just add some dried pepper sticks on the side? Can I just put an egg on the side? Can I just add some cheese? Obviously, dairy is providing that your body is okay with that and that you have no inflammatory challenges around it. But can I just add a little cheese on the side? Can I add some veggies? Can I add some tuna for protein? Or can I put it all in the blender and whiz it all up and make a smoothie? So can I just, it's just that sense of like, I just need to step up here. Just a little change. You're communicating that with your system rather than trying to change everything overnight. And so that is the beginning of recognizing resistance. It'll just start to soften a little bit once you meet with it. I'll see you soon. Okay. So I thought I would leave the resistance questions for reflection together as a community rather than getting to the end of the call and we haven't had a little discussion. And I think probably the best way with the 25 minutes we have is just to really look over any of those questions or answers that you've got, if you wrote them down, and see what stands out the most. That's even if you want to share, you don't have to share. Someone, undoubtedly, me, if no one else, will spark something, some conversation, some discussion. And I tell you what, we're really good at is waiting until the last 10 minutes. And all of a sudden, we all have something to say. So let's see if we can draw what we have to say into the now. And even if that means being a little bit brave and being the first one, or even saying something that we don't really want to say.
Okay, I'll jump in with a thought that I'm worried I'll have too much. This week I ate probably too much of my nuts and seeds. Be and so I have a fear that it's too that I eat more than I need to. I probably do. And that's one of the things that comes up, right? So is that resistance?
The first thought or question that came up was, how do you know how much is too much?
Yeah. I don't know that I do, but I know that the serving size says third cup, and I'm sure I ate more than a third of a cup.
Okay. And so what happens when you eat more than a third of a cup?
I get full feelings sometimes, or I just like it, and so I want more, and I just eat it, and I may be a bit dulled. Am I looking for the dull? Am I looking to get that familiar, dulled, full feeling that's too full? It's probably too full. I have a habit of overeating. I know I do because I'm too full. Like my kids and I have talked about this. My son long ago said he'd rather be a little bit hungry, a little, than a little bit full because the overfull feels worse than the I'm a little hungry.
And how
So
did you resonate with what he said? What was your response when he said, I'd rather be a little bit hungry?
I was
What came up
surprised,
for
right?
you?
This is years ago, right? But I was surprised and I thought to myself, huh, yeah, I like that.
But
But I
but
don't know
that
how
but you didn't agree.
I like it, but I don't know how to do it. To stop. Like I have a desire for more. And I don't know that it's hunger. We were emailing, what are we hungry for? Or I'm hungry for something else. I'm not aware of the state of the enough. You know, I'm not aware of I've had enough. I don't know how to find that.
Oh my gosh. I so know. Like one of the things when I'm putting this whole thing together is trying to get to the essence of what I used to experience that gets further and further away from me. So this is why listening to you
Mhm.
ladies is so important for me, because if I'm not asking the right questions, like
Mhm.
aware of I've had enough.
Yeah.
And what I heard in all of that is I'm looking for a full feeling, and I also like what I'm eating and I want more of it. But am I actually hungry for food? Am I already full? Am I looking
Mhm.
for that full feeling and nothing else about
Mhm.
whether I'm hungry for something else? I
Mhm.
have a desire for more, but I'm not aware of when it's enough. Like
Mhm.
all of that rumination that
Mhm.
we bring to our meal times, and actually going back to the first thing that you so bravely shared, that I fear I will eat too much. And there is a very high chance that when we have all this unconscious and conscious and semi-conscious rumination going on in our mind, there's a very big chance that we won't notice what's going on in our body and that we will eat too much, especially if we're driven by the belief that this means comfort. Because ultimately, this is really where what we bring to the table in terms of our thoughts and feelings comes in to our whole eating experience. Because it's so suddenly become less about nourishment and balance and joy and pleasure and taste and texture and all of those things, and more about, will I eat too much? What will happen if I eat too much? So
Yeah.
maybe we all need to, I think I'd be correct to say that we all have experienced this or do experience it. And the need to know the right amount is so apparent. And I guess the question is why does it matter if you eat too much? That would be my first question.
That I'll be fat.
Right. Okay. So let's go through this
One,
because why? And I'm actually in the middle of asking this. I'm in the curriculum re-recording, and this why word is standing out of me so big right now. So I'm going to go through that. So we asked, why does it matter if I eat too much? Because I'll be fat. And why does it matter if I'm fat?
boy, that's a big one, isn't it? There's a lot of reasons that I don't like the fat.
That
I should I
I don't
list a
like.
couple of them right now. My clothes don't fit well. I don't like how it looks.
And health.
Health, it's true. I would like to not carry, you know, 40 extra pounds up the stairs every time, say, because we have 40-pound bags of stuff for the pellet stove, and that's heavy, or 20 pounds is heavy. That's heavy. 10 is heavy. Why should I carry it every step? If I can get that idealistic to say that it's healthier, but I know that there's also I don't want to always feel like this is too tight. I don't want to always feel like I have this blubber. And I was trying to say, I was trying to just accept it, because it is what it is. I have the curves that I have. There's a nicer way to look at it, but it's a societal, battle.
I actually in there, and I've written a few things down that came out from that, as well as Monique's point there.
Yes,
Yeah,
good
Um,
Jen,
point.
sorry.
but what what I was getting to is this idea that if I'm wearing, if so, I keep coming back today about asking the questions as though we're asking a small child or a child that can fluently speak, but still hasn't got to the place where they can really, the simpleness of a child. If a child is wearing clothing that's too tight, how would they say, why would they want to tell us that?
Because it's uncomfortable,
Because they
right?
probably need bigger clothes.
Yes. But
And
like I've got
connected,
my bigger.
we've connected the idea of having a bigger body with this, tight clothing. Oh, it's not as simple. We've moved away from the simplicity of, if my clothes are too tight, why don't I wear something that isn't? If it's too tight, that it's restrictive and uncomfortable. But my sense is that isn't why it's a problem.
Well, certainly it's the appearance, but it is a genuine issue that I have. Well,
Absolutely.
I've spent time looking through my clothes just lately, and when I put them on and it doesn't feel comfortable, it's so frustrating, and it's just so frustrating.
Absolutely. And it wasn't meant as a don't
No,
look
no, I know. I
this
know.
way. It's exploring the why of,
Right.
because as it is, when I am wearing a tight pair of clothing, tight pair of jeans, my jeans are too tight. That's the fact is I need a bigger pair of jeans. But I'm really interested in the underlying belief that isn't I need a bigger pair of jeans. It's like, oh, I can't go to a bigger pair of jeans because what? If I have to have a bigger size, what does that mean? And I'm going to make an assumption here. What that means is that I'm not showing up good enough or slim
Oh,
enough,
oh, for
whatever
sure.
that is. And
Yeah.
the problem here, because a lot of what we're always moving to explore in this program is around stress. And when we think we're not enough to show up in whatever clothes feel comfortable, that is, I'm not lovable as I am. I'm not belonging as I am. I don't look okay as I am. I don't. And then this tremendous amount of stress is all sitting in that 75,000 thoughts a day that we don't know about, or whatever the number was. So this is just one little area that we can explore, as well as why do I want to, let me go back to my initial question, which was, I'm not aware that I've had enough. Why does that matter? Because I don't like the fat if I overeat. So another bounce off from that could be, it's not only when we overeat that we gain fat. There's lots of other reasons why we might be bigger. And the stress that we put on ourselves by eating a handful more of nuts might be way over, like over compensating or whatever the word is for those nuts. Like there's so many moving parts in here. It's no wonder that, we just go to the one thing that's been driven into us for so long, and that is as long as I'm slim, I'm okay. As long as my clothes are a size 10 and not a 15 or a 18, I'm okay. And the question is that true? Can we really, really know, hand on heart, that that is the most important thing? But it's what we've been led to believe is the thing that matters. When we aim for our goals in life, we're aiming for a smaller body more. That's what takes over our mind more than anything else because we've been fed. It's almost like, if you think of a child that has extremely like staunch or, very focused religious people, and they've been made to do this and they've followed along and modeled what they've heard from the people around them whole lives. There's a very high chance they'll be very religious. They will also believe in God and in that within that religion, or sometimes it pushes people the other way, and they will never go to church or that. So this is because that is our belief system, and we'll either take it on as our own or oppose it. And it's our human nature to go along, and it all drops in to the background because we don't remember all those details. I don't remember half of what I was thinking and believing last week, let alone last year or 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. Like, well, I learned this in the first 7 years, 8 years of my life when the brain is like a big absorbent sponge. And then we take it on and it settles in as conditioning. So the questions that you're asking are very, very valid. That this isn't about removing anything. It's about being able to step back and see what ultimately we're all thinking in some shape or form, those of us in the program. And and then I want to come around to what Monique brought in is for health. And it's not for me to sit here and say health is way more, to lose weight for your health is way more important than removing all the beliefs about releasing the weight. It's about exploring whether if you took away this drive to focus on being a smaller size to be able to feel okay in the world as you are, if you took that away, do you think you would have better health, more improved health? Do you think you might spend your time and energy on things that are purposeful towards your health? Would you have more room, more space in your mind and in your emotional system for being healthy or more healthy if, like, how much of us does this focus on weight take for us? I mean, my weight, I don't weigh myself. Only sometimes when I go to England, because my mum has my old scale in her spare bedroom, and I might hop on there. But I really don't know what my weight is. I know I am a fair amount pounds heavier than what I was a year ago. Let's just say that. And I know why. Um, and can I say, hand on heart, that I am less healthy because of my weight? No, I really can't say that. What I can say is if I was in that gym every day, like I used to go at exercise or, at the gym classes, focused on my body weight, on my body side, pushing, forcing, restricting to get my weight back to what it was a year ago, I'd be way less healthy than I am in this moment. And would I prefer to be smaller? Yeah. And I aim to be the best I can be in my body, in my mind and my body with my health, so that my body can find its way to skipping down the street feeling that little bit lighter. But a lot of the time, I do often hear, oh, this weight that I'm carrying. And yet, what do we do when we go to the gym? We lift weights. That's what we got to do to get more muscle. So it's not, I'm not suggesting that you're wrong in thinking the way you do. I'm asking you to explore why you think it. And if it's 100% true for you, fact, from a factual point of view, because a lot of the science that we've been fed is not wrong, but there are other sciences that also say, but is this more the truth?
Yeah. And that it's good to look at this instead because, well, I'll just say really quick that a lady I know worked and worked and worked and worked to lose like however much she lost. And she said, I'm at my perfect physique at age 60 or whatever. Now what? It was a real blow. Like it wasn't all that, And now what?
Yeah. Now,
I
how do I get healthy? And maybe she was, maybe she had some health, good health aspects as well. I'm not
Sure.
suggesting she didn't, but
Sure.
when we get to the end of this line, wow, we lost weight and we've been there and we've done it. Why, the question comes of why, what kept me away from staying there?
Yep.
How much more stress did we have when we didn't stay at that exact weight? Oh no, the pounds are starting to build up. Hello, nervous system, jump in that front seat. Oh, we're going back to what we always did. We don't like it here. This is uncertain because we don't know what's ahead of us. And so much we could explore within that space. But asking ourselves why, I think, is a great takeaway
Absolutely paramount. Absolutely, because we've all dieted. How many times we've talked about this, right? We've been to that perfect weight. Why didn't we stay there? Because the mind and the body weren't connected, and that's why I feel this is so different and so important.
Hallelujah.
Absolutely, I'm just feeling what's happening, and I'm bringing it along with me. I'm the connection, really, truly.
And in all of this discussion, what we're really talking about here is resistance to having a different message that we believe in. And it's 100% normal. Why? Because our nervous system is at the moment going, that's funny, that stuff. But all this new stuff, it's just junk. It's just fluff. Like it's romantic, idealist, like, is it? Because I've literally based a large part of my humanness in feeling okay in the world, that fulfillment that I'm getting from passing this stuff on to others, which goes completely in the other direction. But our nervous system toddles along and go, okay, I got it, but here we're going. We're going back here. We're going back to why did I eat too much? Why, I'm looking for how can I stop before I know I'm full? Because apparently someone feels better and that's not right or wrong. Perhaps the person who says, and I also have heard, I know someone, a coach, who actually says, my mind when I'm at work for my day, or my days go better when I'm a little bit hungry. If I allow myself to be a little bit hungry, it's kind of like bringing a little bit of stress, a little bit of, you could call it almost like a little bit of positive pressure because when we're hungry, we're stressed. But when we are so in tune with our mind and body, that's when a little bit of self-discipline can come in. But if we start to go there now and go, I need to be this person who feels better when they feel a little bit hungry, because we're not there at the moment. We want to fill that space of what we're not getting. And we've learned to do it with food. Many of us have. And some people have learned to fill it with other things. And sometimes we use some of those things as well. This filling is a sense that we have blocked our emotion. So if you like, our need to move forward comes from our heart. And that's where the emotion comes from love, if you like, rather than fear. And if we have blocked that, we can't yet connect, as you said, Monique, the mind and body, so the mind and the heart they've lost a connection somewhere. So this is why the feelings are blocked in both body and mind. We're not able to connect with, okay, what is getting a fill versus I've had enough. Enough to be able to go about my life in a healthy way, in a positive way. And the majority of us, just for so that we can feel more normal, the majority of us probably eat more than we need in terms of actual, Alexa, stop, excuse me, in terms of actual um, nutrition. If you think back to times of old, they probably spent most of their time highly focused on what they needed to do to live because they were often a little bit hungry. And then when they got their fill, they celebrated that. They relaxed. Their bodies were actually relaxed. But we do live in a world that has the availability of that to do that every single day. So their chances are we've been doing that for a long time, and that is then our normal. So then eventually these signals that are being sent up saying, a little tinsy wincy sensation that goes, I've had enough. It's blocked because our normal has become full. And then that relaxation place is, in this stress world where we don't feel enough if we fill ourselves up with food, we're looking for relaxation in it. We're looking for something that goes, that forces us into a relaxation, because our body can only actually bring the energy to the midsection to digest this food, which is important for life, if we're relaxed. We can't actually process it in a stress state.
Yep.
What's your takeaway? We're at an hour.
Well, what am I?
Glad I tuned
Yeah, go
in.
ahead.
That's my takeaway.
What is it,
Sorry?
Monique? What?
Oh, I said I'm glad I tuned in today. Yeah, that's my takeaway. Yeah, I don't
And
want to.
I'm glad you did too.
Yeah, I did. I needed a little fix in it, and it's always good what we talk about. So
Yeah.
It
yeah.
is. And what do you take away, Julie?
What am I looking for in the food, in the eating? But can I come from love rather than from fear? How's that?
Wow.
Good.
So come from.
Woo!
What is my come from?
Yeah.
Always that we could almost add that to the pause. I might do that later in the program.
Yes.
What is my come from? Am I coming from a place of love, which is how can I best feed myself to feel energized to go about my day in the best way so my body can be whatever it needs to be? Or am I looking at this food from a fear perspective? What is that going to stop me getting? How is that going to stop me getting there? Because if I have that, the outcome will be this, and that is fearful.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if Vanessa is actually hanging there or not. And I'm gonna, there she is. Were you able to
Yes,
do?
I'm here listening.
Yes.
Yeah. What did you take from that in a brief sentence, Ness?
Oh, I mean, I relate to it all, obviously. Um, and just, I think it's really coming down to acceptance, the fact that diets don't work, that, exercising really hard, just makes me gain weight and that doesn't work either. And like, it's just not, it's taking it slow, deep breathing, doing the small things that will make the biggest changes long term.
Wow.
But it's something that I struggle with because you want to change so badly that it just feels like, well, how much more do I have to do? Why is my body not responding? But, I've spent so many years in fight or flight that I'm going to have to spend so many years getting out of fight or flight. And yeah, those are some of my takeaways.
Thank you for sharing. There was a lot in there. And the one I'm drawn to right now is, what do I believe about acceptance? What do I believe is true about acceptance? That for me is just to go away with that question, or that inquiry, really delving deep, or getting another layer if you can, into what does acceptance mean for me.
Yes. Thank you.
You're very welcome. And I hope you're all better soon.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, we're wrapping up. I'm proud of myself. I passed.
Yes. It's Valentine's Day. We need to
Yes.
love each
Happy
other. Give each
Valentine's
other.
Day. I don't know
Love yourself.
Ourselves a hug. I gotta
do I,
go. I gotta
how do
go.
I send a heart? Well, here it is.
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
Monique. Remind
Love
me.
to you all.
Okay, thank you.
Talk again soon.
Bye-bye. Be
Bye.
well. Bye-bye.